Okay, continuing from the previous clip. In his book, Human All Too Human, we read that, quote, everyone has his good days where he discovers his higher self, and true humanity demands that everyone be evaluated only in the light of his condition, and not that of his working day unfreedom and servitude. Many live in awe and in abasement before their ideal and would like to deny it. They are afraid of their higher self, because when it speaks imperiously. It possesses, moreover, a spectral freedom to come to stay away as it wishes, to come or to stay away as it wishes. On this account, it is often called the gift of the gods, whereas in reality, it is everything else that it is a gift of the gods of chance. This, however, is man himself." Unquote. Such lines might have been written by Walt Whitman or Emerson or Thoreau, the poets of the great American freedom poets, the poets of the democratic culture. To celebrate the best in the human experience is implicitly to retain the ideal, if not the practice of democracy. And if the practice of liberal democracy and egalitarianism has us assuming the worst rather than the best in a human being, then Nietzsche's critique offers a useful tonic. I believe to regard Nietzsche as a nihilist is a mistake, a product of an unobservant reading. He was rather an excessively sensitive person, horrified by a world where nothing has rules and stands for nothing. Indeed, a nihilist is an obscenity, it's a curse word thrown by him at others. Nietzsche occasionally calls himself a nihilist, but for an entirely different reason. Everybody has a mouthful of values, but in reality they all behave like cattle. They all behave like cattle in a herd, like a well-fed herd. What they call values are only wooden idols which overthrow themselves. People do not seek any values. Rather, they follow the others like a herd. It is also true today that only what is rare, difficult, risky, and demanding has values. And we all avoid these sort of things. We prefer to wait for how things turn out. Nietzsche wrote, quote, "My philosophy aims at an ordering of rank, not at an individualistic morality. The ideas of the herd should rule in the herd, but not reach out beyond it." End quote. Revaluing all values is not rejecting all values. When Nietzsche reevaluates our moral habits, he underlines how they become obstacles to freedom when they serve as final destinations. But that is not to reject their uses and benefits. They can be exploited as stepping stones. The highest in rank give evidence of a constant striving for excellence. The striving produces endemic change in the individual who is involved in the project of overcoming herself or himself. Just as there is a role for personal habits and for a need to go beyond them in all self-overcoming, so there is a need for herd values and a need to go beyond them. Herd values, which I understand to be moral habits conducive to a common life, are precious achievements that contribute to our personal and social constitutions. Though Nietzsche is often read as advocating their wholesale abandonment, I believe he understood the need to build upon these herd values, the values of the community, in other words. He says this, "Let us live above ourselves." Nietzsche advocated in a letter, continuing, he said this, "In order that we may be able to live with ourselves, we must live above ourselves." To live above oneself is to rise above the habitual and the herd-like. But in the end, as a true leader. But in the end, the goal is to live with oneself, including all those personal and social habits that make one a unique individual and a unique human being. The purpose of human life is not the establishment of a utopia in which the victorious forces of radical individualism and free-spiritedness have eliminated all herd values and personal values. Life has no purpose but itself. The battle between individual spirit and herd-like habits is not a prelude to some future state of tensionless existence. The good life is a life of daily struggle, with the habitual and herd-like in each of us, a struggle that does not deprecate what it seeks to surpass. Such deprecation would constitute, I think, a defamation of life.